Hello and welcome to Bitten. Today we're in front of the Pacific Northwest Theater Associates, aka PNTA, aka Pinta. If you're in the theater or the event production industry and you don't know who these guys are, you need to. They have a wide selection of products and services for the event and theater industry. Now today, Pinta has invited us in to invade their space and talk to one of their very knowledgeable salespeople about something that I know as a young actor I always struggled with, and that was stage makeup. Specifically, how to take a young performer and make them look like an old performer. So let's go in, meet the model, meet the artist, and get down to work. John, tell me a little bit about the challenges of aging somebody for the stage.
So the biggest challenge is to replicate aging effects realistically and not an effect that actually looks like a cartoon on the face. It's difficult to find that fine line between cartoonish and not enough for stage.
Right.
So when you're doing your own makeup and you're right here in the mirror, everything looks so much bigger. Then you take a step back and suddenly everything's gone.
Right.
So finding that balance is really the important part, and just not being afraid of going there. So for aging makeup on stage, the important thing is to get your base foundation, which we have a lovely selection of kits available from Ben Nye in a convenient packaging system. Makes it easy if you just need to come by and either pick up your personal kit for what you need for class, or if you need a more detailed one, we do have some available. The next thing that we're going to be using a bit is going to be Ben Nye's special effect colors. These are great for reshaping the face, adding highlights, adding contours, and the discolorations of age that happen over time that might not be naturally appearing on the face already. There's also some different products from Ben Nye that we can use for temporary hair coloring. This makes it really handy to just comb in some color when you need it. It's easier than trying to dye or bleach your hair completely. And we also have Ben Nye Colorless Luxury Powder. This stuff's great. So a lot of people use just neutral set on stage, but Ben Nye has recently reformulated their products to be a HD compatible version. So that means they're going to be showing up on camera a lot better and performing to the standard that technology is going at these days. We also have a nice hydrating base from CM Beauty. This is a good product. You want to get a good base going for your makeup so that your skin doesn't absorb everything so quickly. It prevents makeup from wearing or sweating when you're under stage lighting. That can be an issue that people don't normally have throughout the normal day. Another important product from Ben Nye is going to be their Final Seal. This is their pretty standard theatrical sealer. A lot of people rely on this, and it increases the durability and longevity of your makeup. Some important tools to focus on would be just some various shaped sponges that we've torn up, some stipple sponges and some regular foam latex ones. So going to be to apply and blend your products. And with special effect looks like aging makeup, it's important to have a lack of blending in there. If you blend too far, your contours and highlights go away, and you lose all the work that you just put into it. Got some various brushes here from Ben Nye, CM Beauty, just different tools, different shapes to add the different contours, highlights, and get the job done. And these ones are great. We use a lot of the red-handled brushes from Ben Nye. These are better, so you're not going to be ruining high-quality, expensive brushes that you might be finding at other stores.
Should I just keep going?
Yeah, so if you could go ahead and just keep expressing, emoting, moving your face around, squinting, squeezing, getting your laugh lines to show. The more fine creases you can actually get to show in your first layer of foundation, the easier it is to map these things out. So you'll start to see those fine lines appearing in the foundation, and then that's kind of the nice blueprint for where to go to start all of the fake wrinkles, lines, and such. Right now we're emphasizing these fine lines that we're already seeing come through, and a lot of these feel counterintuitive to put on your face, because it's very backwards from what we do with makeup normally, which is to reduce the aging process. But in a special effect or a character look, it's important to break that mold and to add these lines that are unconventional to the human face at first. And then we really start to see the process come through. So we're starting with more bold lines. It's easier with these products to almost go a little bit strong at first, and then buff out if we need to. It's nice to map out the face because then we can add these, we're adding the contours here, which are going to mimic the wrinkles, and then in a bit we're going to go through and add some highlights to pull those forward, even though we're receding them at this point. I feel like it's easier to start with the larger details and then go in and add the fine details afterwards. So that's why we've seen that I've started with the laugh lines, the chin, larger wrinkles on the forehead, and then the deeper pockets under the eye that we're going to emphasize even more in a little bit. Didn't start with the crow's feet or tiny lines, because if we start just with those really fine details, some people can go, that's when they don't go far enough. Or at that point, that's when they go a bit too far and add too many details. Again, please. And release. The nose is a touchy subject for stage makeup, but with aging makeups, the nose is actually a part of the human body that continues to grow no matter how old you get. So, if you add shadowing on the wider section of the nose, it'll create the illusion that the nose itself is larger. As you age, your lips get smaller. They tend to shrink. So something you can do there is to just come over here and just shorten the appearance of them by contouring right over your own natural lip line. Some smaller lines for wrinkles on the lips. Nothing too drastic here or you get a bit skeleton-like. Here we're just taking a little piece of a wedge sponge with a little bit of foundation color on it and just going right over the shadow lines we have added. This helps make it actually look like, so it's not just lines on top of the face, but that they are underneath a layer of the skin. My purpose here isn't to blend them out or to change their shape, because that would defeat the entire purpose of what we just did. Just to put them underneath the top layer of skin, pretty much. Beautiful. If you could pinch your lips together.
What am I doing?
Mm-hmm. Towards me a little bit. With this highlight and contour technique for aging makeup on stage, you can normally get an actor's appearance to change about 15 to 20 years max. If your character needs to progress more than that, that's when you start getting into more advanced techniques of makeup.
Prosthetics.
prosthetics, latex stretch and stipple, yeah. Now we're going in and adding highlights. We're wanting to highlight the peaks of the features that we just receded with contour. And this is going to help emphasize the techniques you've done and make sure they read correctly from stage.
Am I in your light?
Nope. Can elongate the top lip just a little bit to emphasize the depth that you're trying to create right on the bottom side. When we get to the areas like the forehead that have more capacity to form their own wrinkles, when we're highlighting, it's really easy to ask your model or do it yourself. And then you can just paint right over the top of the peaks that are created. And then once Sarah relaxes, these are going to be reading as more realistic highlights compared to the shadows that we've already added. If you could wrinkle again. Anthony. And just coming right between the crow's feet we've added. This will help make sure everything translates properly in the end. In the eyes, what we can do to make sure that they do appear older is instead of opening the crease and opening the eye area like you would with normal beauty makeup, is you can cut it short. So we're almost coming from the point of the eyebrow, start of the eyebrow, and we're going to cut a really short crease shape. This is going to give that really droopy eye, that hooded look that happens as time goes on. The great thing about age makeup or character makeups and special effects in general is that symmetry is something you don't have to worry about. It goes all out the window. So it really does remove a level of stress that's normally there when you're trying to make yourself more beauty presentable for stage. To emphasize the hooded eye, if you could close your eyes. Gonna add a really tight highlight just in the inner corner. Just going to come in and blend the eye area just slightly, with even a smaller bit of sponge and a little bit of foundation on there. I'm doing my best as we go through the face to blend these colors separately. That's why I subdued the shadows before going in and subduing the highlights. That avoids getting your makeup to turn out muddy, so it still keeps a cleaner finish to it in the end. So now that we have these base wrinkles down, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start going in and adding discolorations and effects that happen over time besides wrinkles. So we're going to be adding some freckle spots, liver spots, maybe a couple beauty marks just in case. Yeah. So what we can do now is take some different brown toned creams and we can stipple them without blending afterwards to add more texture to the skin that you find as you age. I normally consider doing these over the peaks of the face where most people might get the most sun exposure. And just a couple large spots to bring it in, really.
I've got a natural one somewhere, like near my nose, like under, I think it's on this side. It's like sticking out, you see it?
We can go ahead and emphasize that and it'll really work.
Do you want to like look for features like that naturally as much as possible?
Depending on the character. So if you're doing a character that is just simply yourself, aged, using your own natural features works completely.
Right.
But reading into your character and figuring out who you're trying to really represent on stage is where pulling these extra effects are going to come in handy. We're going to go in and just add a little bit of redness for discoloration. This is something that just more affects the human body as time goes on, so these little details that you add in can really help make the job more convincing in the end. And around the lips, around any open area on the human face, really, or depending on how much of the human body you have to age for your character. Little more lively tones can just help expose that skin a bit more. And look up. And just blend it just enough to make it look like it's not actually just sitting right on top of the skin. Just using a warm brown pencil to come in and now just sketch in a few additional details on these freckles and liver spots. If you outline them with a slightly darker color, makes everything read even better all the way from stage. Just filling in the eyebrows here to make sure they translate properly from stage. Not trying to add any extra shape or drama to them. Just really trying to fill them. So on somebody with really dark hair, as Sarah has, I prefer to use a dark brown pencil. If you add just a straight up black pencil into the eyebrows, it can be really heavy. So it's a little easier to go with a deep brown. With most of the aging effects done now, we're just going to go in with the colorless luxury powder from Ben Nye. This is just going to help hold all the creams onto the face without changing the tint or anything about the makeup. Just trying to set it. What I love about Ben Nye's HD powders is that the particles themselves in the powder are spherically milled compared to being flat in shape. So on stage, this will really help refine the texture of the human face and really get into all the fine lines that really are there, help your skin perform its best on stage and film. Now to add just a couple beauty techniques for more matured characters. We're going to take a deep berry lip color and just line right on the inside of Sarah's natural lip line. Using a similar lip color here to just smooth everything out. Using a very small amount of the same lip color for some blush. So luckily Ben Nye has a good selection of different colors for temporary hair color. Anywhere from the Snow White to their silver gray, dark gray, ivory, kind of depending on the tint that your hair naturally takes on as you get older is what you're going to want to gravitate towards. I've just dipped a small eyebrow comb in hair color. This is going to make it easier to just go right through the brow hairs a little more comfortably. And just very lightly, right over the top layers. I could get you to turn towards me. Thank you. Beautiful. Want to try and work with as little of the product as possible at a time. Don't want to get too runny with this stuff because it can be a bit messy. Thin layers make this a more convincing process. Okay, I'll check. I'll look at it.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I've got to go get my pension check, dearie.
You want to try and get as close to the roots as you can without actually painting onto the hair or onto the scalp itself. Beautiful.
Really cool.
Final step is going to be final seal. Makeup sealer. You want to make sure after you do all this hard work, getting a character to come to life, that it's going to last through the performance.
That it will never die.
No, yeah, it'll never come off.
It's good.
Good news is you look great. Bad news is you look great.
Forever.
Forever.
Right, now go ahead and close your eyes. And on 3, I'm going to spray. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so with more heavy-duty makeups, theatrical makeups, you're going to want to do a test on your skin before you actually have to do a show. You can do this by doing a swatch on your wrist the night before, waiting 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, if you have an allergy to any ingredients in a cosmetic, it should present itself. I haven't had too many people have any issues with Ben Nye's Final Seal, but there is an alcohol base to it, which some people's skin can be sensitive to. If you do have an alcohol sensitivity in cosmetics, there's ways around it. We have different lines with different sealers. Blue Marble by PPI is a great sealer that's water-based and does an amazing job at creating a physical layer between the outer world and the makeup you just put on your face. So you're trying to essentially put a little microfilm over your face at this point. And this is also going to help control oil production on the face. These are very, very heavy products that we apply for theater. And with all of this stuff on your skin's going to try just naturally to get that off by creating more oil. So the more steps you can take to prevent that and slow that process down, the longer your makeup's going to last. Ben Nye has some amazing makeup removers that are intended to remove all cream formulas, which make it really simple. It breaks down the barrier that Final Seal makes. It breaks down the oils that are in the products themselves. Essentially what it is, it's a really finely formulated oil, so even more fine than the oil bases that are in these cream products. And that helps get between the barriers that you've added and just easily remove everything. Then after that, after you use any specific removers, any heavier removers, like from Ben Nye or PPI, whatever other brands we carry here. I do encourage people to wash their face and do their normal skincare routine afterwards, get their skin balanced again and back to normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And towards me. And double, quadruple, triple chin again. Perfect. Right over the peaks again. And relax.
Get on my level.
Making sure you bring some wrinkles down the neck will just prevent it from looking like you're wearing a mask on stage. They don't have to be the most detailed, just something to keep the look going, really. And turn this way a little bit.
Any words of wisdom?
Well, now that I'm about 18 years older, it's still the same. Just honestly, just be where you are, and know what's true and throw out what's not true, and then do the kindest thing that you know to do, and just keep doing that. You'll be fine.
Well, we want to thank Jon Barber, and we want to thank Sarah Nine for their time and expertise today. We're going to do an edited version of this for our online magazine, but you can see the full director's cut if you go to our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. So John, Sarah, thank you so much. Oh, I don't want to hurt you. You're old.
Thank you.
I don't want to hurt you.
Thank you, dear.
And John, you're going on tour starting Friday, right?
Yes, yeah.
All right, so you're going to be on tour, but I'm going to make sure that you have contact information for both of these people. I'd love to include your story.
Of course, thank you.
And so if you have any questions, and once again, everything you've seen here today, you can get here at PNTA. So until next time, have a good one.
Be safe.